Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're cracking open the SQL Cookbook and we're going to whip up some seriously powerful recipes for handling data. You know, if you've ever felt like you've kind of hit a wall with your SQL skills, well, this explainer is definitely for you. So let's get cooking.
You know, the authors of the SQL Cookbook just hit the nail on the head with this one. It's a feeling so many of us have had, right? You learn the basics, your select, your from, your where, and yeah, you can get a lot of stuff done. But then you hit a problem that's a little trickier and you start to think, okay, I guess that's it. Time to export this to Python or Excel.
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? What if that's not all there is? What if SQL is way more than just a tool for pulling lists of data? Turns out, it's an incredibly powerful language for analysis and manipulation, and we're about to look at 3 recipes that prove it.
All right, first up, let's solve one of those little everyday data puzzles. You know the kind. They seem like they should be simple, but they end up being surprisingly frustrating.
Okay, does this look familiar to anyone? I bet it does. You've got a column, it's got text and numbers mixed together, and you just want to sort by the number. But look what happens when you run a standard order by. SQL just sorts it alphabetically, one character at a time. So Clark 10 and King 10 are nowhere near each other. It's technically correct, I guess, but it's not at all what we actually want.
So here's the secret recipe. It's so clever. Instead of trying to sort the whole messy string, we're going to use some built-in functions to just isolate the part we care about. We can use things like replace or translate to basically strip out all the letters, leaving behind only the numbers. You're basically telling the database, hey, for a second, just ignore the text, okay? Just look at the numbers and sort based on those.
And boom, take a look at the result. Now that's what I'm talking about. Because we told SQL to sort only on that numeric part we pulled out, we get the perfect order. The 10s are together, then the 20s, then the 30s. It's a simple little trick, but man, it opens up a whole new level of control over your results.
Okay, time for recipe number 2. We're leveling up now, moving from tweaking a single column to a way more common challenge, working with multiple tables, and finding out what's missing.
This is such a classic business question. It comes up all the time. You've got your list of departments, you've got your list of employees. Now, how do you find the departments that have absolutely 0 employees? You can't just use a simple join, because a simple join only shows you where you have a match in both tables. It's great at showing you what you have, but it's terrible at showing you what you're missing.
So the secret ingredient for this recipe is something called an outer join. And the key thing to remember is this phrase: returns all rows from one table. See, unlike a regular inner join, an outer join makes a promise. It says, I'm going to keep everything from this first table, no matter what. And if it can't find a match in the second table, well, it just puts a null in there, which is basically SQL's way of saying found nothing.
And this right here shows the difference perfectly. Look at the left side, the inner join. It only shows the 3 departments that actually have employees. The operations department, it's just gone. Poof. But now look at the right. With an outer join, all 4 departments are there. And for operations, since it couldn't find any employees, it just has null on the other side.
And here's the beauty of it. The outer join already did all the heavy lifting for us. It found the empty department and flagged it with that null value. So all we have to do now is add a super simple where clause to our query and just say, hey, show me the rows where the employee info is null. And just like that, we've found our empty departments. So simple, so powerful.
All right, let's get to our final recipe. And this one is going to tackle something that honestly feels like it should need a whole other programming language. But nope, we can do it elegantly right inside SQL. Just stop and think about that logic for a second. We want to sort our data, but the way we sort depends on the data itself. For one group of people, we need to look at the commission column. For everybody else, we need to look at the salary column. How in the world could you write a single order by that can handle that kind of if this, then that logic?
And here it is. The solution is it's beautiful. You can put a case statement, you know that classic if-then-else logic, directly inside the order by clause. For a lot of people, this is a genuine, wait, you can do that? Moment. You're literally telling the database, as you sort, look at each row, run this little check, and then decide which column's value to use for sorting.
And now, look at this final table. It's just perfect. See? The salesman employees are all grouped together, and they're ordered by their commission, from lowest to highest. And then, right after them, you've got all the other jobs, clerks, managers, analysts, and they're sorted by their salary. It's a completely custom, data-driven sort order, and it was all done in one clean, elegant query. That's just awesome.
So, let's take a breath. In just a few minutes, we've gone from dealing with some annoying sorting issues to pulling off some really sophisticated data analysis. We've really leveled up from just being a SQL user to becoming more of a SQL artisan.
So let's quickly recap what we've added to our skills. We now know how to use conditional logic right inside our queries with case. We've mastered finding missing records using outer joins, which is a fundamental skill. We even figured out how to create these custom data-dependent sorting rules. We've really moved way beyond just fetching data. We're now actively shaping it to answer much more interesting questions.
What these recipes really show us is that a lot of the time, the only limits to what SQL can do are the limits of our own imagination. It really is the language of data. So the only real question left is, with all this new power, what are you going to ask it next?